During a visit to Beijing a few weeks ago, Secretary of State Antony Blinken issued a statement on Taiwan.
I reiterated the long-standing U.S. One China policy. That policy has not changed. We do not support Taiwan independence. We remain opposed to any unilateral changes to the status quo by either side.
Robert Hammond Chambers, president of the U.S.-Taiwan Business Council, argues that the U.S. One China policy states that the United States takes no position on Taiwan's sovereignty, whether it be independence, reunification, or any other outcome. Mr. Blinken's statement strips out Taiwan agency on the issue of Taiwan's sovereignty by placing our finger on the scale of outcomes in a manner favorable to China's position. Its short-term expediency in order to get a meeting with a much larger bill due later. We do not support Taiwan independence could mean that we oppose Taiwan independence or that we have no opinion on Taiwan sovereignty. But I agree with Mr. Chambers that it easily gives the impression of the former, which I suspect is what Mr. Blinken intended. If so, this raises an important question. By issuing a statement that appears to favor the CCP's position but does not technically violate long-standing U.S. policy, is the U.S. government putting itself in a position that could be exploited by Beijing? Could Beijing turn U.S. concessions in words into concessions in deeds, not only on Taiwan but in other areas as well? Some foreign policy experts argue that Beijing's victories are superficial. The fact that the reception for Blinken was downgraded, that Blinken admitted that the U.S. does not seek to disengage from China or to overthrow the communist regime, that the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence, did not jeopardize substantial U.S. interests. After all, the U.S. still maintains the high-tech embargo against China, which is effective containment. But I fear that these rhetorical concessions will not necessarily remain verbal. All these gestures by Mr. Blinken will be used to the utmost by the CCP, both at home and abroad. For the domestic public, Blinken's trip was seen as a great victory of the Communist Party over American imperialism. The fact that there was no red carpet at the airport and that Xi Jinping sat at the head of the table during the meeting instilled a sense of national pride in the Chinese people. Chinese social media is overflowing with nationalist comments that celebrate the United States' openly admitted inferiority to China in front of the whole world. This perception of victory over America is crucial to maintaining the legitimacy of Beijing's rule among the party's base, which is not the super-rich class, but the rural and urban middle and low-income people, whose primary channels of information are the state-owned media. The rich are with the party because of their interests. Once their interests are gone, they have no loyalty and would run away faster than anyone else. The poor have to stay. They are the ones who would be sent to the battlefield if there were a war over Taiwan. They would also end up paying the price of the economic downturn. But things are getting harder. In today's China, where the economy is declining, unemployment is extremely high, and people's lives are hard. The CCP is beginning to have difficulty maintaining its base. It has no choice but to beat the drums and stir up nationalism. You might say that the U.S. government is now trying to overthrow the CCP regime, so why should it care if rhetorical concessions legitimize the party's rule? Well, because for Beijing, legitimizing the CCP rule is only the first step. Next, more demands will be made and more concessions from Washington are likely to follow. As a result, American national interest will be compromised. This pattern has been vividly demonstrated during the Bush and Obama administrations. Captain James Furnell, former director of intelligence for the Pacific Fleet, told me in an interview that because of the U.S. government's long-standing appeasement mentality toward the Chinese Communist Party, they had drawn a lot of red lines for themselves. For example, If the president, vice president, secretary of state, or secretary of defense were to fly to China for a meeting, people in the State Department would ask the military not to fly intelligence-gathering flights within the first island chain, so as not to provoke China and interfere with negotiations and engagement. What got worse during the Obama years was that this kind of a mindset didn't just apply to the very top of the US government. It went all the way down to Assistant Secretary of Defense and Assistant Secretary of State at the lowest levels.
So we have tied our own hands for 20 or more than 20 years when dealing with China.
If you would like to watch the rest of it, please go to our website, zoomingin.tv, and become a member. $5 a month or $50 a year. Cancel anytime. You will have access to my extended interviews and full in-depth reports. For those who are not quite ready to become a member yet, you are welcome to visit our website as well. We have all the shows you can watch on YouTube, plus transcripts on our website. YouTube only allows for a short description, but on our website, we post full transcripts. You can simply donate to us on that website as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you very soon.